One of the things that I do is try to live my best life in tribute to this person who made that decision to be a donor. When I found out I tested positive, I honestly didn't believe them. I didn't believe them because, again, I wasn't sick. I didn't have a headache. There was nothing happening with me. The only reason I went for medical attention was because I wanted to get VA coverage. At that time, I didn't feel sick. I didn't even have a headache. So I kind of argued, I'm not sick. I don't have hepatitis C. I asked the question, how do you get it? And there wasn't a definite answer of how you get it. And I finally came to the conclusion, it doesn't matter how you got it, you have it, now let's deal with it. There was only one treatment for hepatitis C at that time, and it was a drug called interferon. Interferon was not very successful, and interferon was doing some strange things to people. I didn't want to go through that, so I put that off probably for 5 years, for 6 years. And I'm still not sick, but I knew that was the only treatment for hepatitis C. So I tried the treatment, and for me, it didn't work. I was being monitored, and we did find liver cancer. I think we found liver cancer around 2012. And we cured the liver cancer. It was a procedure called liver ablation. And so that was taken care of. And that's when we began to talk about, we might want to think about a liver transplant. When I talked to my doctor about the liver transplant, that was really very, very new to me. I didn't know anyone who had had a liver transplant or any transplant whatsoever. I didn't know anything about transplants. But the key to me was my doctor said, do you want to live? And if you want to live, then we need to talk about this liver transplant. I'm really full of anticipation. I'm nervous because now I'm beginning to feel a little bit of the effects of the hepatitis C. The thing about hepatitis C, I was running out of energy. My energy level started to fall. I was very tired lots of times. And one of the big problems with me, my body was always racked with cramps. So I was going back and forth from Winston-Salem to Richmond, still going through qualifying to get on the list. And at the same time, I was having a major problem with edema. My body was just swelling up with fluid. So I'd have to go to the hospital to have this fluid drawn from my body. My health began to fall because I come to find out what was happening. My liver was shutting down at that time. During the surgery for the liver transplant, my blood pressure fell too low for too long. So that caused kidney damage. So my kidney shut down. So I went on to dialysis during the time that I was recovering in the hospital. And I was on dialysis for about 19 months. And most of the time when I went home from dialysis, I was just too drained. I was too tired to do anything. I didn't have any energy. Even on the days that I was off, dialysis for me was 3 days a week. The days that I was off, I still didn't have very much energy. I didn't have very much life. I didn't want to do anything. So when I got a kidney transplant, the quality of my life improved 1,000%. Before my challenges with hepatitis C, as I worked in the cruise industry, I found that I found my niche in life. I found what I was supposed to do in life. And now that I have the transplant, I had the second chance at life, I again feel like I found what I'm supposed to do. I was someone who didn't know anything about transplant. I absolutely nothing about transplant. But transplant saved my life. If I didn't get this liver transplant, I wouldn't be alive today.
There are still days where I can be going about my daily task and I just stop and think to myself, I am here because someone gave the most selfless gift that you could ever possibly give. Once you're diagnosed, the average lifespan is about 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately, my father's was much shorter than that. 6 months after his diagnosis, he ended up passing away. During my father's illness, albeit very brief, my husband, my other family members, and myself realized that I actually experienced a lot of the same symptoms that my father had. So about a month after my father's passing, I found myself seeing his same pulmonologist and was basically told that my lungs were not happy and was sent to see a lung specialist. I spent about the next year and a half after that really doing relatively well until we realized there was a spot on my lung that we were following that we were concerned was cancer. And the issue becomes that, at least at Duke, their protocol was that they would not transplant you unless you were 2 years cancer-free. I went to stay at Duke for a week and have a lobectomy where they took out basically the bottom quadrant of my left lung. And when I was actually in the hospital, we were told that it wasn't cancer. And I was home for just a couple of days, but I was doing great. I was going for a little walk around the neighborhood and got a call one afternoon that upon dissecting a little more and sending my pathology through to some other places throughout the country, that tiny little spot on my lung, which was causing my breathing capacity to very quickly diminish, was indeed cancer. That very next morning, I woke up with an extremely high fever, an extremely low pulse ox, and went straight to the emergency room. We ended up going to the intensive, it was admitted into the intensive care unit, basically right a room or two down from where my father had passed just 2 years prior, and was basically told they were out of options. Since the cancer in my lungs was early, it was stage 1A, and that they had gotten it all with the lobectomy, that they were going to call the procedure curative and that Duke would consider me for a lung transplant. But I had to get there as soon as possible. I was life flighted to Duke, so I was put on a helicopter with only the clothes on my back. After being there about 24 hours, I was in extreme distress. And so they made the decision to put me on ECMO, which is basically a life support device where it takes the pressure off of your lungs. It's really just considered a very, very short-term solution. I signed the papers for my transplant listing on the 2-year anniversary of my father's passing from the same lung disease that had landed me where I was. And 4 days later, I had new lungs. And I remember my husband at the foot of my bed going, Nicole, you're at Duke and you have 2 new lungs. And he just kept saying that over and over again until I processed it, until it really sank in. I was in the intensive care unit at 41 years old, planning my funeral with my husband while my 8-year-old son was with my in-laws. And here I am 4 years later, able to be a mom, a wife, and all the other things that come along with life. So I wake up every single day grateful for being here, grateful for being alive, grateful for the gift that I've been given, and know that really the best way to honor the gift that I've been given is to live the best life that I possibly can.
Hello, my name's William Jonas. I was in a real bad motorcycle accident where I'd lost 3/4 or close to 3/4 of an inch of my wrist, and they used donor tissue to go in and reconstruct and mend this all back together. And this was 10 years ago, and I am so thankful to this day. I've got full movement of my wrist, and I'm just so thankful.
So this is Brandon McNeely. I had my transplant on 3/26/16. I'm grateful to my donor. I've been able to restart another business. I've got to see 1,300 plus sunsets and sunrises with my family. Just grateful to be alive. So, yeah.
My name is Candace Grant, proud and grateful kidney transplant recipient. I am so grateful to my donor for the gift of life. I get to continue being mom to our 3 children, including our youngest son, who's diagnosed with autism.
Because of my donor, I am able to spend time with my granddaughter. Thank you, donor family.
Hi, my name is Felicia, and I was able to get a kidney, and I'm very thankful. I am a preschool teacher, and now that I have gotten my kidney, I have more energy, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thanks to my donor, their families, and people like you, I have the gift of vision. Gracias a mi donante, su familia, y personas como usted, tengo la don de la visión.
Thank you for my heart donor. I'll be able to do taekwondo with my heart transplant. Thank you.
If it wasn't for this simple act of kindness through organ donation, I wouldn't be doing this today.
Thanks to our donor, my daughter can dance now.
Thank you for the special heart